One bright morning, a wave of excitement washed over the entire kingdom. Colourful banners fluttered in the breeze from every turret and tower, and the town square was abuzz with chatter. A royal messenger, dressed in the king's finest livery, stood proudly, unrolling a grand parchment scroll sealed with the royal crest. A trumpet fanfare silenced the crowd, and he announced in a booming voice that the king was hosting a magnificent royal ball at the palace. Everyone was invited, from the highest lord to the humblest commoner. The news spread like wildfire. Townspeople whispered excitedly. Children pointed towards the castle, and dreams of an enchanting evening began to fill the air. The whole kingdom was alight with anticipation for the grandest event of the year. Back at a quiet manor on the edge of town, the news of the ball was met with squeals of delight. Cinderella's two stepsisters, Anastasia and Drizella, could hardly contain their excitement. They had already commissioned the most lavish gowns, adorned with shimmering ribbons and delicate lace. They spent hours preening and twirling before a grand mirror, giggling as they imagined themselves capturing the attention of the handsome prince. "He will surely ask me to dance," one declared. "No, me." The other retorted. From the shadows of the hallway, Cinderella peeked from behind a door, her simple, tattered clothes a stark contrast to their finery. She, too, dreamt of the ball, though she dared not say it aloud. Later that evening, as her stepsisters continued their gleeful preparations, Cinderella found a moment of peace by the hearth. Dressed in her usual rags, she sat on the cold stone floor, gazing into the dancing flames with a look of deep longing. The warm candlelight cast a soft glow on her face, highlighting a single, hopeful wish in her eyes. Her only friends, a small group of friendly mice and little birds, gathered beside her as if they could sense her quiet yearning. More than anything, Cinderella longed to go to the ball, to wear a beautiful dress, and to dance just for one night. Her heart was full of hope, but she knew her stepmother had other plans. Just as that thought crossed her mind, her cruel stepmother swept into the kitchen, her shadow falling over Cinderella like a dark cloud. The stepsisters followed, smirking behind their mother's back. "And where do you think you're going?" The stepmother sneered, noticing the wistful look on Cinderella's face. Cinderella stood up quickly, her hands clasped together. "The ball?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. "I've finished all my chores, and I thought... maybe... The stepmother let out a short, harsh laugh. "You," she scoffed, pointing a stern finger at Cinderella. "Go to the ball in those disgusting rags. Don't be ridiculous. Your place is here, by the cinders. Impossible." Cinderella lowered her head, the last flicker of hope dying in her heart. With her step-family gone to the ball in a flurry of silks and perfumes, the house fell silent. The only sound was the soft crackling of the fire. Cinderella returned to the hearth, her shoulders slumped in defeat. Her dreams, which had felt so close just moments before, now seemed utterly broken. A single tear traced a path down her cheek, followed by another, until she was weeping softly, her tears falling upon the cold, grey ashes. Her little animal friends scurried closer, chirping and squeaking gently, trying their best to comfort her as the pale moonlight shone through the kitchen window, illuminating her quiet sorrow. It seemed her night would end right here in loneliness and despair. But just as all hope seemed lost, a shimmering light began to fill the room. It sparkled and swirled, brighter than any candlelight, until it took the form of a kindly-looking woman with twinkling eyes and a warm smile. She held a sparkling wand in her hand, and her very presence felt like a comforting hug. Cinderella looked up in utter surprise, wiping the tears from her eyes. A gentle voice whispered, like the chiming of tiny bells, "Now, now, dry your tears, child. You can't go to the ball looking like that, can you?" Before Cinderella could even ask who she was, the woman announced, "I am your fairy godmother, and I'm here to make sure you get your wish," with a confident flick of her wrist. The fairy godmother pointed her sparkling wand at a large pumpkin sitting in the corner of the garden. "Bibbidi-bobbidi-doo," she sang. Instantly, the pumpkin began to glow and expand, its shape twisting and morphing until it became a magnificent golden carriage. Next, she waved her wand at the little mice, who transformed into 4 majestic white horses. Then, with the most wonderful magic of all, she turned to Cinderella. With another bibbidi-bobbidi-boo, Cinderella's tattered rags dissolved into a breathtaking ball gown that shimmered like starlight on water. On her feet appeared the most delicate pair of glass slippers. Cinderella gasped, twirling around. Magic had filled the room, and she shone brighter than any star in the night sky. As Cinderella marveled at her reflection, her fairy godmother held up a gentle hand, her expression turning serious for a moment. She raised her wand, and the faint image of a grand clock appeared in the air. "This magic is powerful, my dear," she said kindly, "but it is not permanent. It comes with one very important rule." Cinderella leaned in, listening intently. "You will have a wonderful time, but remember this," the fairy godmother warned, her voice firm yet gentle. "At the stroke of midnight, the spell will be broken. All will fade away and turn back to what it was before." Cinderella nodded, understanding. She had until midnight. With a heart full of gratitude and excitement, Cinderella gave her fairy godmother a final hug and hurried to her waiting carriage. The footman, once a friendly old horse, opened the golden door for her. As she settled into the plush velvet seats, the carriage began to move, gliding silently and smoothly under the vast, starlit sky. Her heart raced with a mixture of nervousness and pure joy. Through the window she could see the distant lights of the palace twinkling, growing closer and closer with every moment. After a lifetime of dreaming, her greatest wish, her most impossible fantasy, was about to come true. She was on her way to the ball. The golden carriage pulled up to the palace, its gates thrown wide open to welcome the steady stream of elegant guests. The air was filled with music and laughter. As the footman opened the door, Cinderella took a deep breath and stepped out gracefully. Gasps rippled through the crowd as all eyes turned to her. In her sparkling gown, she was a vision of enchantment. a mystery princess no one recognized. And so, with her head held high, Cinderella arrived at the grand ball, the light from the ballroom glowing warmly ahead. But what awaited her inside would not only change her night, it would change everything. Thank you so much for watching this magical beginning unfold. If you're as excited as we are to see what happens next at the ball, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss a single moment of the story. We'll see you in the next chapter.